close video. So this one is looking at another new Tonic die set called the Tiny Treasured Tome. I think that's the name that they're going with, and obviously the title will be the name and everything will be linked below. So if they have changed the name, you know, you'll find it underneath the video. This is such a cute little die set. It's really quite small. I mean, this is an A4 magnetic sheet that I've put it on, so you can see sort of how dinky the size is, and the pieces of it are actually quite economical because you can get both the main box and the cover for the box out of an A5 sheet of card. You kind of think you can't do it. Let me get an A5 piece and show you actually. So this is an A5 piece and you're kind of looking at this die, and if I can get it off the sheet. This die makes the base part of this tiny little tome, and when you're looking at it you're like, oh, it's not going to fit this way on an A5 piece, but it does, because the cutting edges here don't go up to the edge of the metal. So if you're clever and frugal, you can put it face down onto your card and then just check on the back and make sure the cutting lines aren't visible, and it will fit on the width. Is it the width? Yeah, the width of an A5 piece of card. So you can actually get 4 of this base piece out of an A4 piece of card, which is great. And obviously from one A5 piece you can get the base and the cover of this tiny little book as well. So it's a really cute dinky little die set, but you can also use it for cards as well. I was going to make a little book to go on the front of a card, but I've run out of time. So but it would work brilliantly as a little 3D book that would sort of open on the front of your card if you wanted to do that. So I should probably show you what it actually looks like. I've made so many different things, they've all got different bits and pieces inside them, but this is the basis of what the little book looks like. So this one, I just took out what's inside it, but I'll show you it properly in a minute. But so you have, this is the cover, which is this piece that cuts you this cover, which is literally just a rectangle with a skinny rectangle and another rectangle. And then this part cuts out this interior box. So this is just useful for lots of different projects actually. I mean, imagine this is an advent calendar. You could have all these separate little books and even make a little bookshelf. Can you imagine that? You could actually make like a cardboard bookshelf and have all the days of Advent, and each one is a little gift inside. I just thought of that. But yeah, so you get so that piece makes this little inside piece, and then you stick it to the back cover and to the spine, and then you get the perfect little book as well. And there's a couple of different fastenings. I have been using the same fastening on all of them just because I quite liked the way it looked. And so how I've been doing it, I've been using this little die here, and I've been using magnets to help it close as well. But you just fold that piece, stick it on the inside of the lid, and then you can put one magnet on the back of here and one magnet inside the box there, and then it will just snap shut really nicely. And I'll show you this one properly in a second, but I want to show you the dies up close a little bit first as well. So inside the little cover that you're actually getting enough pieces to decorate the cover in 3 different ways. This one is smaller because obviously it's fitting inside the base of the box, which is then smaller, but it will fit in both of these larger rectangles. So you have the 3 different patterns to mix and match around with. I really love this one. It's got 2 rows of stitching around it, and then it's got this sort of little open bit at the bottom, and this insert inside this one says a little gift for you. Then you have this one, which is also I think the way these holes are in there is so that you can have ribbon and tie it around the box. I'm sure when these are on Create and Craft you'll see lots of other samples, and I'm sure the front of the packaging will probably have an example of how you tie it up that way as well. But the way I was making all my little samples, the ribbon going that way around wasn't really going to work for me, so that's why I kept with the other fastening. But you can use a kind of ribbon closure around them, and those holes on that piece make that really useful and easy as well. And then the other panel is this gridded one, which has larger diamonds towards the centre, and it fades off to smaller ones that are slightly further apart, which I really like. and you get a stitched rectangle around that one. So that stitched rectangle is just going to be really useful anyway, and it's a really nice stitching. I really love that stitching on that one. Yeah, around this one is that slightly larger one because it fits on the actual cover, and it's got like a tiny little scallop with a dot in each of the scallops, and then obviously these three you can mix and match them into any of the outside shapes. For the spine of the little book, you have another skinny stitched rectangle, but you also have over here, these will fit the spine as well. You have a plain edged rectangle, a scalloped one that matches the other scallop, and you have this decorative inside panel which you can use in these rectangles as well. And this funny looking one with the two holes in, I presume it's so you can make the spine of your book look bound, but I haven't actually used it in that way. I've used it to create a little sketchbook, which I will show you, because I made a little mini palette as well. So I've used that to create a little sketchbook, similar to the kind of spine mechanism that's in their Insert Creator die sets, which came out a little while ago. Then you've also got multiple other panels for decorating the small end of the book. You've got obviously another scalloped one which matches that scallop. You've got the stitched one, you've got a slightly smaller straight edged one, a larger straight edged one, and then you have other little bits and pieces that you can be used to decorate your boxes. You've got this little sort of nameplate which would fit perfectly over that oval section on this one, or you could put it on just on top of that pattern, and it's got the two holes in as well. Then I think these two and this little bit are all of the locking mechanisms. I've been trying to make these really quickly, so I haven't had a proper chance to try out that locking mechanism. I've just been using this one. Then you've got a cute little duo of hearts there, which is similar to one that was in, I think it came in the little photo, like Polaroid-y kind of die set that Tonic brought out a little while ago. Then you have these two tiny little words that say for and my, so then you're supposed to put them with down here, so it says for my love, and then, or you can also do my gift as well, because you've got love and gift, and they're kind of like a stencil font, and they've got an outside bubble around them, and then you've got this dinky little duo of flowers with leaves on them as well, which cuts out the sort of outline design. I haven't used that many of the smaller elements for decorating these because I was trying to get them done relatively quickly, but they obviously you can add them to any of the things that I'm going to show you as well. So as usual, I just wanted to show you all of my projects whilst I still had them. You know, it's quite, I mean, I could do these videos later on and just have a couple of things that I've made with it, but I think it's quite nice to show in person and be able to move things rather than just post photos on the Tonic Facebook page and stuff with all of the projects that I've done for the show. So let's show you this one first. This was the little box that I did just show you, but this was my idea behind it. Because it's quite a dinky little box, some people might not know what to do with it, but I thought, like, little children love playing with small little toys and things, and I thought making it into a little like a storybook, and it says The Adventures of Teddy, and then I just sort of drew on like a cartoony spine to it as well, and I added just to get this page look, I did it on quite a few of them actually. All you do is you just take an alcohol pen that is slightly darker than the cardstock and literally just draw a load of scribbly lines across it, and it kind of gives that look of a load of pages, like making up a book. It's not, you know, it's not accurate, but you know, it just gives that illusion that it's actually a book. And then inside it we've got a tiny little knitted teddy, so I got my mum to knit this and also some other parts on one of the other projects as well, but I just thought it's a cute little gift that you can give a little child, like you know, a small little birthday present or something. They love carrying around tiny little toys with them, and having it in a separate little box to play with as well, I thought was really sweet. So that was the first idea that I've done. Then going along with this theme of having something in a tiny little box, I was thinking, what else do you get in a tiny little box? So I thought, what about a little sewing kit? So I've used, this is one of the media dies that Tonic do. There was a whole sewing themed one with like a coat hanger and a button and a couple of mannequins and stuff. And so I just made this one into a sewing box, and I just used like a Dymo labeler to create the word sewing box. I layered up a couple of the rectangle pieces, added a few buttons. I kept the rest of the outside really simple on this one, and then inside you can hear there's stuff in there. Obviously you could put whatever you wanted in there, but I just found out of another little sewing kit that I had, a little card wrapped with a load of threads, and then there's a needle threader, and there's also one of these collapsible thimbles as well, that came out of another little sewing set. And then there's a few buttons and safety pins and stuff in there, but obviously you could put whatever you like in. And also for this one, I thought when you have like an actual sewing box, they're often sort of that, I think they're sort of made out of cardboard, and they have fabric that's lining them on the inside and the outside. So I thought, how could I sort of emulate that look of having a lined inside to the box? So I took the, if I just get it, I took this die and I just lined up a piece of patterned paper so it would cut this central section, and then I snipped them down a little bit narrower because the way the box folds in, it sort of bulks up these side bits a little bit, so I just snipped off a little bit extra, and again off the top and bottom as well, and then slid that inside. I didn't bother about the side pieces, I thought it looked quite nice just with that piece in there, but I thought it just gives that look of like a fabric lined box. And then we've got that cute little set of threads in there as well. And again, I used that same magnetic closure just because it was really simple to do. And this little like closure piece, it has a hole there. On some of them I was putting a gem over the hole, but if you didn't want a gem, that is just a normal hole punch. I just punched a hole out and then stuck that over, so you didn't see the glue from the magnet stuck on the other side of it, because there's a magnet on there. So that's how I made a little sewing box. Then again, on that theme, I decided to make a little paint box because I thought, you know, it's really cute to have a little on-the-go paint palette. So 6 little half pans of watercolour fit absolutely perfectly inside there. And these are actually half pans that I have stuck some magnets to the bottom of, and then you can see in there, there's a little black piece in there, that's a cut down bit of magnetic sheet, so I just stuck that in the bottom of the box, and then these actually stay inside it because they've got magnets on the bottom of the pans, but you can easily take them out as well. So I just thought that was a really sweet idea. And then on the inside of the lid I stuck a piece of white card on there, and then stuck a piece of acetate over the top, and I added some paint to it to show off that you can use it as a little mixing palette. Obviously no brush would fit inside this, but if you took this and the other thing I've made with you, plus like a Tonic water brush pen, you'd be all set for doing a little bit of painting on the go. And these are just some tube watercolours that I just squeezed into pans as well. You can easily get empty half pans on Amazon and eBay and stuff. Yeah, so I just kept that one really simple, just cut it all out of red card, and just wrote paint box on it. Obviously you can use alphabet stickers or die cuts or anything as well. Then to go with that, this is how I used that weird looking double dotted die, and I created a little sketchbook. I just swatched out the paints from the set, and I also drew a little doodle of a flower and a bumblebee. But I just, you know, I cut a few sheets, maybe, was it 6 or 8? Maybe 8. 8 little double pages of a sort of sketchbooky kind of paper, you know, with that kind of texture on, and then one for the outside. And then, if I get the die. So when I was cutting it, I would cut this. This is for the cover and for the pages, but that little inside die, if I can get that as well. This little inside die, I stuck this to the outside and then cut them multiples like this so that the spine stayed in exactly the same place. And then I layered them all on top of each other, and I just thread some baker's twine through, and I did actually tie it down there, and then I stuck these 2 pages together to sort of hide the join in the centre. So you've got a cute little on-the-go sketchbook, just for obviously tiny little sketches and stuff, but I thought it was really sweet. and they go together as a little pair, and obviously they're the same kind of size because you've used the same dies to make them. So that plus a little water brush makes a really cute little set for you to take with you. Then I'm not really sure what this is for. I had two ideas of making something like this, of what they could be used for, but as I was decorating it I was like, maybe I should just leave it plain and then people can make up their own mind of what they might want to make something like this for. But I was thinking you could make it an emergency snacks thing, and it could be like a little faux book sitting on your shelf, and it's got like little bits of chocolate and stuff inside it. Or I was thinking you could give it as a present, and inside the different sections you could fill it full of gift tags for people to give or tie on presents. So you could have like birthday, Christmas, thank you, you know. But for whatever you decide to do with it, I thought it would just would be nice to show how you can make it into something like this. So I just took this die, like that one, and I cut it 4 times and made 4 of the little boxes, and then I just cut a strip of the brown card again and scored it. I think it was 2 centimetres, 8.5 centimetres, 2 centimetres, and then that just folded all the way around to give you 4 separate little containers. And see, this is why I was thinking you could have like little chocolates or chewing gum or mints and things, and you could write that on the 4 sections, or you could have cute little gift tags, and it can be for somebody as a present. So, you know, there's a few different ways you could use something like this. You could make it bigger as well if you wanted to, and putting 4 of them together, I then made this little book. It's actually 4 inches by 6 inches, and then I did a 1-inch spine on it, and that was literally just taking an A4 piece of card and trimming it down, and then all you do is stick them on the inside, and then you have a little book. And then obviously you just stick the ribbon around the book and then add your patterned panels on it as well. And then I've just left it so you could just tie a couple of knots to keep that closed, but obviously you can use whatever method you want to. But I just thought that was another cute little thing to show how you can use this small die set but make something bigger as well. Then I've also done this little one where I've made a little drawer set. So this is the inside box, and then this is actually the cover of the box. But then to create these little side pieces, I then lined up, I lined up a piece of card and just cut, so I cut the spine with a tiny bit of extra card either side of the spine, and then I snipped them down to be shorter so that they would work as the little side panels of this chest of drawers. So it's really, really easy to do, and obviously you could just measure that and score it all yourself, but because we already know the back of this little compartment is that exact height, you might as well use just part of the die to cut the side pieces, because then you know it's going to be completely even all the way around. And so I did 2 little drawers on this one. And again, I used that same little tab, but I just stuck a heart gem on it to match the top section of this drawer unit, because it has 2 drawers, and then on the top I did the same thing as like the little boxes I've been making. So I did it with the opening lid and the magnetic closure, and for the drawer handles I wanted them to match, so that's why I just added the heart gems on them as well. And then obviously I just cut some pattern paper panels using the little dies from the set just to decorate it as well. But that's a sweet little thing. I would have loved this when I was little. I mean, I used to love playing with my little Barbies and my scene dolls and stuff, and I used to love making little houses for them, and I did actually have some little sets of mini drawers that were supposed to be for like keeping stationery on your desk. But like, imagine a little child folding up all the little clothes for their Barbies and stuff and keeping them in a little chest of drawers like this. That would have been what I'd used it for when I was younger. Or you can have it on your desk and have like rubbers and paper clips and all sorts of different like stationery things inside it as well. Then another thing that's kind of like for your desk as well is a little pen pot holder, and for this one I actually varied the width of the book, which then ended up hindering me a little bit, but I did figure it out in the end. It was a little bit of higgledy-piggledy, cutting up bits of cards trying to get it to work, but basically I used the die, but then obviously the die doesn't have this last side on it, so then I was just cutting the rectangle out of the centre of the main die to create the other side of the box as well. So when you look from the inside, it looks like the pages go all the way around. And then for the wider ones, I cut 2 of them, I think, and I just ended up... Oh no, maybe I didn't cut 2 of them. No, I didn't. I just made myself some extra sides, that's what I did. So I just made the sides slightly longer, and then for the shorter ones you can just use the actual die cut and score extra lines in it, so then this side of the box ends up being smaller. It's a bit difficult to explain, but if you wanted to make one, I'm sure you'd figure it out. Plus this should be a demo on Create and Craft as well, so if Jodie makes this one, you should see how to make the little books as well. And then obviously I added on the little covers to them, and I just did a multiple of different colours, and I switched them round, so some of the books are facing one way and some are facing the other way. And I also tilted them at different angles as well to give some a different kind of a look. And I used the little mouse out of the Elephant Adorables stamp and die set from Tonic. There's one round there, and then there's one hiding under this book cover round here as well. Then for the spines of the books, I just wrote volume 1, volume 2, 3, 4 and 5 just to add something to them. And again, I did that sort of liney technique for the pages and just did this sort of fake spine as well. And then I also added it to a piece of craft card which I scribbled on with brown pens to make it look a bit like wood, so it kind of looks like it's a table or a shelf or something. And then the idea behind this is that it is a cute little pen organiser for your desk, and lots of different nouveau things will fit into it nicely. Obviously it's not for too much stuff, but lots of different bits and pieces will fit inside it. You can even put a bottle of glue in one of them if you want, and you can have like pencils or biros or paintbrushes, you know, all sorts of different things you could keep in this, just as a cute little thing to have on your desk as well. So I thought that was a sweet little project. And then my final one, I think it's my favourite actually, the final one that I did. Again, it's another trying to show how you can use this tiny little die set to make some larger projects, but it's a bookend. So obviously you would make 2 of them, but I just made 5 little books using different colours of blue card from Tonic, just to like go with the theme but make them look slightly different. And again, using that stripy technique to give the give the sides that sort of page look like a book. And then I got my mum to knit 3 little bookworms, and so there's one poking out the top here, one hiding around the back, and one here reading a little Tonic book. So it's probably a little catalogue with a load of Tonic stuff in it, which I thought would be really cute. And then I've just used the different front panels for them. So this one says a little gift for you on it, and I've left 2 of them so that they open, so you could hide little bits and pieces inside the 2 open ones if you wanted to, and the other ones I stuck shut. And also, to get this to be a sort of upright shape, I made sure that one book was going to lie with its spine flat against this, so then I stuck that to there to help it stay up in that right angled shape as well. And I've got the piece of card that will be the demo, and hopefully you will then get a pair of bookends, and then you could put a few books between it. And it is actually a decent weight. I was thinking maybe it's not going to turn out heavy enough, but I made sure to use quite a bit of hot glue to stick all the books down, so that's given it some nice weight as well, which is really nice. But I do think this is my favourite out of all the ones that I've done. I just love those little bookworms, they look so cute. And it looks really sweet with a little pile of books. I just thought it would make the perfect sort of bookend, so I just had to give that a go as well. So there's not going to be a construction for this one because, you know, it's pretty simple to put together, and obviously you can do so many different things for it. I'd have to have about 10 different construction videos to show you all the different ways of constructing it. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this little quick look at this new Tiny Treasured Tome die set. And hopefully I'll get this video up pretty soon to when it's been out on Create and Craft as well. But I'm sure Jodie will have lots of hints and tips of how to put these together and everything on there as well. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this look at these different projects that I created using the Tiny Treasured Tome die set. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!